So currently on this Courage trailer, I've got a main distribution board running over here. This is factory fitted. It's got USB outlets, cigarette lights and a header plug, 220 volts, breaker board, voltmeter over here. And what I did was I added an extra control panel that included a set of six switches for the lighting system, which I installed around the trailer. The problem with this is that when you open this tent out, the tent comes out like this, and this actually becomes your bed, and you've got a ledge that comes out over here, probably about 70-80 centimeters, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass to reach down underneath the bed to switch the lights off, on and off. So the idea is that I'm going to relocate this control panel here, take all this wiring out, block this up, put a stainless steel plate back over there, and relocate the entire control panel to the other side of the trailer, which is the living space. That way we can access the lights, the 12 volt pump for the water, the full electrics more easily from the kitchen side. In the nose cone we've got two 105 amp hour batteries which I recently installed. They can be charged in 3 ways, either via the Victron MPPT, the solar controller. I've got a 160 watt panel that plugs into the side of the nose cone there with the Brad Harrison. Alternatively, whilst you're driving, the coupler has another Brad Harrison here, and that charges via the alternator, via a DC-DC charger. Or lastly, if you have access to AC, it'll also connect via an AC, and then that has a converter from AC to DC and charges the battery bank. From there, the power runs from these batteries directly to the main DB and also to the power box that I'm building. So looking at the back of the trailer, I have another electric panel down here at the back, and this includes a bus board over here with my fuse box, a shunt for my voltmeter, a negative terminal here. This all runs to a voltmeter with an amp meter and a few USB ports in the kitchen. This is the back of the kitchen. There's the back of the electric board that I installed there. And if we come around here to the kitchen, there's the voltmeter with the amp reading and the USB ports that I installed. Now the idea is that I'm also going to take that full board down there, pull all that out and install everything here. So this is where the switches will now be relocated to. This is the left hand side of the kitchen. I'm going to have the light switches, the 12 volt pumps situated over here. They will all be fed directly to the battery box, which is at the front nose cone of the trailer. And over here I'm mounting an accessible electrical box that I can open and close and access all the wiring. Everything will be in one position in the trailer, and it will just be a lot more accessible, a lot neater, and a lot easier to use on a daily basis. So when I got the trailer, it didn't have an electrical system apart from that standard factory fitted distribution board. I needed to add, first and foremost, was the lighting system, and what I've done is I've added a full LED strip lighting system throughout the trailer. There will be a separate video that I've done on how to make these lights up. I bought them as separate components and built them up, and then I'll also show you how I install them around the trailer. I've got them all around. I've got them in the side doors, in this main back door over here, which really assists to light the entire campsite. Another one in the kitchen, and one here above the fridge slide. This is the fridge slide over here. The fridge is currently out because I'm designing a new box for the fridge to go in with another drawer. You'll see that in another video too. And then there is another light there that's behind the main distribution board, and back through that side hatch that you saw earlier. So there are currently 6 lights around the trailer, including a set of lights that work externally that I plug in with an audio cable. And what I've done is I've designed a new control panel here. I'm adding 2 additional lights, one being a scorpion light, which is a UV light installed underneath the trailer, and that is just when we're in desert regions in South Africa or Africa, there are a lot of scorpions around, and really it's best to be able to see them or not. I'll do a video on that lighting system too, but in total I'm going to have 8 light switches that will be mounted over here, and then a 12 volt water pump switch too, which is on a 20 amp fuse, because the 12 volt pump has a higher amp drawage than the normal light switches. So what I've done is I've just laid out the lights on this little piece of paper. I've measured that up, I've done the layout, and I've worked out exactly the size of the cutout that I need to make here in the side of the kitchen to allow for the wiring on the back of these. It's just a simple little template. I will then be cutting this out of a piece of stainless steel that will then be mounted there, that will house the switches on the stainless steel. Obviously, once I cut this out over here, it goes onto the back of the power box over here, which is then fully enclosed. Okay, so I've made the hole in the side of the kitchen. It goes straight through there. Having a look on the back here, there's the box. So you can see the box is mounted flush against the side of the kitchen. That wooden panel on the inside here is where I will now mount the bus board, the negative terminals, the shunt, and I will have to take that off, drill a few holes, rearrange all the electrics on that board. Then after that I'll prep it for paint, and once that's all done I'll start assembling the entire board all together. We've got some truly miserable weather today, and yesterday it's been raining non-stop for like 24 hours. It's quite unusual for this time of year, but it's really not nice out there. Anyway, so I've finished the stainless steel plate. It is pretty much done. The only thing that I haven't cut is the hole for the 12 volt switch, because it's locked down and I can't get to the shops to buy one, so I'm going to have to wait until lockdown finishes. It came out quite nicely, a little bit of a mission to drill through the stainless steel and to cut it without having a CNC, but I managed to make do on the angle grinder and a hole saw, and the overall result is quite nice, I think. This is what the panel looks like mounted. So as I said before, there's 8 light switches, and then below here we will then add a 12 volt 20 amp rocker switch for the water pump, and then leave another one open here should I need to have another rocker switch in future. I can then also add that at a later stage too. The plugs have these little clips on them that you have to try and squeeze at the same time to get them out so they hold it in place. But it's not as easy as one would hope, because they really are designed to go in, not come out. You have to try and squeeze them simultaneously. Well, we'll get there. That's 4. There we go. All of them out. The lights are all powered by the simple twin flex. It's labeled red and black. Obviously red being positive, black being negative. Now I don't want to run them naked and exposed throughout the trailer, so I've run them through this corrugated sleeving here. Nice thing is you can fit 2 or 3 lines into one sleeve, and then that sleeve will then be mounted to these struts that run along all the way across the trailer to the back of that box over there. So I have now pulled all the wiring through into the box. Comes out here through this flange. As I said previously, I routed it all through this corrugated sleeve. And now I'm just doing the configuration. I've positioned the 12-volt sockets on the other side of the panel. Now I can measure up my wiring distance, cut those pieces of wire to the correct length. I don't want to have them too loose and I don't want to have them too tight either. This here is the positive bus. This is the shunt for the voltmeter. This will be my negative terminal. Negative will come out here, it'll be earthed. Positive will come out here, connect to the bus. The negative as well will come out and connect to the negative. Okay, so from the battery, the cable then runs here behind the fridge slide, through the corrugated sleeving, and to this rubber profile, which I've put in here. I didn't want to keep on running it through the corrugated sleeve because there's no real way to secure it to the bottom here. I'm trying to minimize the number of holes that I drill into the base of the trailer just to keep water ingress to a minimum. So what I've done is I've run this rubber profile through here. This is what the profile looks like from the side. This is what audio-visual companies use when they're setting up gigs and they run the sound cables along the floor. They put the sound cable through this so that people don't kick and trip on it. And I have just then cut little grooves in the sides there and there to hold it nice and snug in place. I mean, this isn't going anywhere. The fridge slide will not touch that at all. And then I've also just done a little notch in the top here so that the cable can run out perpendicularly. That will then go up to the electrical box. And then to hold the corrugated sleeve in place, what I've done is I've taken 2 conduit brackets, mild steel ones, sprayed them matte black, riveted them to the side of the wall of the trailer, and then I've run that sleeve underneath those brackets, and then that goes straight into the power box. So to crimp a 12-volt terminal on a wire, ideally you'd use wire strippers. I don't have any here with me. So as you see the Stanley blade, what I do is I cut the outer layer and then I like to spin it while the sheath is still on. That way, once you've pulled it off, copper wire is already all spun nice and neatly. Then get a piece of heat shrink, cut it maybe about 1 inch long, slide it over the wire, get my terminal, put my terminal over the wire just enough so that the copper is just on the other side coming through the edge of that little gap there. And I get my crimper. It's always worthwhile investing in a good quality crimper, not those cheap shitty things that you get for a couple of bucks. One crimp with a decent crimper does the job perfectly. And then what I do, put the heat shrink over, not across the edge of the terminal, but just across to the edge there. Apply heat. I want to burn it. I just want to apply a little bit of heat so that it shrinks it into place. Now the reason that you put the heat shrink on is so that it's a bit hot. It actually protects the wire from bending and breaking off. It gives it extra rigidity to the edge of the wire where you've taken the protective coating off. And there we go. Beautiful crimp, ready to go. Guys, I'm done finally. It's taken me quite a few days. Luckily it's been locked down,
so I've had plenty of time on my hands, but it does mean that the shops have been closed, so I haven't been able to get out and buy terminals, wiring, a couple of other components that I've really needed. So what I've done is I've basically made do with everything that I've had in my garage. Effectively, other than stuff that I already bought in the past, I haven't spent any money on this build at all. So I think I'm quite happy with the way it turned out, considering how little it's cost me. So there are a few things that I'd probably do different if we weren't in lockdown, but of course as soon as the shop's open I can always get out there and change a couple of little things. But I think, yeah, for the effort that I've put in, it's turned out quite nicely. At the moment I've got a control panel of 6 dials. Yeah. I only had 6. I do need to buy another 2 more, which are on order, but obviously they can't deliver anything because it's not classified as a non-essential item at the moment. So in South Africa we don't have any deliveries for anything that's not non-essential. So as soon as I can get a delivery for those, I'll order another 2 more. Or they'll come along, and then we'll put in the 12-volt water pump as well. On this side here I have rewired the voltmeter and the amp meter. I think they may be reversed because my camera's on selfie mode, but yeah, those are working. And then stepping along to the main power board here, what we've got is the main power board. This is my positive bus terminal with all my fuses. They're ranging in size from 7.5 amp all the way up to 30 amp. 30 amp would be where the water pump will run off. I can obviously put fuses all the way up to 100 amp in here if I find it necessary, if I ever run something that has such a high amp rating. But right now obviously this is just for the light system, so these are all fairly small fuses. This is the shunt, so the shunt runs to that amp meter and the voltmeter that you saw over there, and this is my negative terminal. What I've just done is run the power cable from the battery with the fuse. This is 8mm wire, so it's a little bit of heavier gauge. This goes behind the DB. One comes out here to the negative and the other one comes out here to the positive. It may look quite complicated, but actually it's fairly simple. These are the light leads, the light negatives. These are the light positives. The positive comes into the main positive bus over here. It gets distributed to these 10 points. Each of them are fused. Then from there they run to the switches, and then out the switches back into the trailer. So to give you an example, what does it look like? Here's one of my lights over here, and I've got about 5 of them throughout the trailer. I'll be installing a couple of more. We'll be putting in a light that goes into the tent above, and then another scorpion light that runs under the trailer. That's a UV light. So when you're camping in desert regions, which is quite common in Africa, you get thick-tailed scorpions, which are particularly dangerous, and a UV light just makes them glow fluorescent, so you can just see them before you step on them. It's just a way to avoid a bit of risk when you're out in the bush. You really don't need to get stung by a scorpion. So yeah, that's my system. Everything has just been put into this alarm box, which really I just had lying around in the garage. It came with the property when I bought the property. It was lying in the garage. I've repurposed it into a DB board. This is just a piece of plywood offcut that I've sprayed, and really everything else I've bought in the past, and I had it running in other installations in the trailer and also in the back of my truck. So that was episode 1 of my modification of my off-road trailer. In my next episode I'm going to be installing an inverter into the trailer. It should be quite a quick and easy install. So if you guys are keen to watch that video, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate the support. And I do have many other videos coming up in future too, with further modifications of the trailer, and then we'll get probably hit the bush a little bit and go and explore some of our national parks. So thanks guys, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.